Hello everyone and welcome at our 7th meeting with Science News. Today we'll have a look at an industry in need of cleaning up its act. It's the textile and clothing industry, which is one of the most polluting industries out there. It not only contributes very significantly to the emissions of carbon dioxide, more than the transportation industry, but also produces very vast amounts of various types of waste. So, for example, a lot of wastewater from dyeing, and consumes a lot of resources like fresh water for the growth of cotton. Not only is the textile industry producing a lot of waste and consuming a lot of resources and raw materials, its products are also being discarded at a very high rate. Once they are discarded, they mostly end up in landfills or are being incinerated. And therefore, this week's issue of Chemical and Engineering News features a cover story on the possibilities and new developments of recycling of the products of textile industries, that is, recycling of clothing items. When you think of recycling of clothing and materials made by the textile industry, we need to understand that they are made from a range of materials, either natural such as cotton, which are based on cellulose, or various man-made materials such as polyesters. And it is polyesters that constitute the majority of materials used by the textile industry, up to 52% materials used in clothing. Polyesters also contribute to one more specific type of waste, and that is microfibers and microplastics that are released during the washes of clothing items made from polyesters. And so there are efforts being made in developing technologies for recycling of these key types of fibrous materials. And one of the difficulties and key considerations is that each of these types of materials, whether cottons, polyesters, and others, need to be recycled individually. Therefore, rigorous separation of materials is needed before the actual recycling steps can take place. Further processing then involves solvent removal of pollutants and other components from these individual materials, which then in the case of cotton-rich materials can be turned into a slurry that can be spun into yarn directly or dried into sheets. And in the case of polyesters, depolymerization takes place, and then synthesis of new polymer chains is performed before making new fibers. There are now a number of companies such as Renewcell, the Infinited Fiber Company, or Ambercycle that are developing these technologies. However, further investments and developments are needed to bring these technologies to scale and for them to be accepted by the major players of the clothing industry. Finally, it is necessary to recognize the fact that the recycling of used clothing items isn't going to solve all of the issues of textile industry, which is plagued by other problems. One such problem is the trend of fast fashion, where consumers are using increasing number of clothing items and replacing them with new ones even before the end of their life. And therefore, a major overhaul of the clothing and textile industry beyond recycling of products is needed. Thank you for your attention and see you again next time.